And just like that, we're back again with another episode of the Indie Escape Network presents World Class Clown with Robert Bass. Let's get this thing down and get rolling. Robert, where you been, brother?
Shit. Where haven't I been? Like, oh man, it was a vacation, and then
What vacation?
after the vacation,
You went there?
yeah. I'm gonna tell you something, man. This was the most interesting trip thus far because we generally try to go to Vegas like every year, but this time it was a couples trip, and so it was a couples trip amidst our anniversary. So we had to do that, and I did a couple more things than I normally do, and then one of the couples got married, so it was yeah. It was decent. It was decent. I got to experience the sphere. The sphere.
The sphere?
Thank you. Not the spear.
The sphere. So
Thank
some
you.
kind of restaurant that turns or twirls
No.
around? No?
No, it's a theater. Like, oh my goodness. Respectfully, like, I would like to see porn on it. Like, it is so huge. Like, the building itself is huge. So as you're flying into Vegas, you can see it from the plane. But when you go in, like, it's like theater seating, but it's not really for either the morbidly obese or anyone with equilibrium problems.
Why'd you look at me when you said both of those?
It's one of those things. And so like the way that the steepness of the seats, like, it made me feel a little uncomfortable. So I was glad we weren't like all the way to the bottom, because I'm pretty sure I would have failed. But like, then the whole wall is a screen. So like, I guess IMAX on steroids.
Oh, I would have definitely got vertigo from that shit.
Expensive as fuck. And I was mad because I don't know the different type of shows they have, but the show we went to, this was talking about, like, I don't know, Love Letter from Earth, and I was like, man, fuck this. But the graphics were good.
You mean it wasn't on the Hallmark Channel before, so
you know how I am about the Hallmark Channel. I would have paid for that to see it in, like, like huge with the same storylines. But it's got to be Christmas. It can't be that other stuff. Like, oh my God, I thought my husband was dead and he wasn't, and he's living a secret life. Or the movie after that, wherein, oh, I thought my wife was dead, and then I found out she was living a secret life. But yeah, so we did that. Every time I go out, I want to do a show out there, but it never lines up. And then it's always like I'm either on the layover or I'm getting off the plane, turn the phone back on, and then I get the, hey, you still in town? No, bitch, I'm back in Florida. Like, it's the weirdest thing. Or like in the middle of the year, hey, are you in Vegas? No. Like, if you really paying attention, I don't live in Vegas. I only come to Vegas like once a year. So it'll be a different thing. I know somebody now that I guess they bought a place out in Vegas, and so things are a little bit different. So I might try to do that. But my wife likes to do it annually, so it's should I be in Vegas again in February?
It's not a wedding each time, is it?
No. This was the first time. It was, you know what? I'm not even gonna lie. It was kind of cool.
Hey, Ken, thank you for joining us.
I guess it's one of those things. You know how it goes. Like, you kind of get caught up in the moment, because then you remember your moment, and then you think to yourself, maybe I should tell him to run. Nobody told me to run. I wish somebody would have told me to run.
Did anything happen in Vegas that had to stay in Vegas?
Hell no. I was taking shits in their bathroom like it was nobody's business. Like, I know the maids was like, what the fuck is going on in their room? Because like every time you turned around, I was like, hey, can I get like two rolls of toilet paper? And they're like, 2 rolls? And I'm like, 2 dose.
So those damn buffets.
Oh, racist. Oh man. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my God. It is. Yeah. And we went to
So
this
so
one
you
place, and
oh
it
sorry,
was
go
the
ahead.
food was horrible. But go ahead.
Oh no, the food was horrible. I thought Vegas was
Yeah.
supposed to be like the buffet capital of the world with the greatest food and the
Oh,
cheapest and
I'll come back to that part. But so I
okay.
think what it is that I make jokes about becoming a white person, and I think that what I realized in this place that we went to that I thought the food was disgusting is that I'm whiter than I thought because like it was Mexican food, but I think it was authentic, and I was like, ew, these tacos suck. Taco Bell's
This
better.
is not Taco Bell, damn it.
Taco Bell's better. Like so, I think that was the thing for me. But we did go to this buffet, and I'm gonna tell you, it was expensive. But they well, and here's the other thing. Let me set a premise. I'm my dad's son, so I'm cheap. So, expensive for some people may not be expensive. Like for me, it was. And then they give you like a 2 hour block. Like I feel like we stood in the line almost an hour. Then you get in and they give you 2 hours to eat all you can eat. And it's like, oh, and you know me. Um, like, don't give me no challenge. Like, I'm gonna regret it. I know I'm gonna regret it, but don't challenge me. And yeah, man,
Challenge accepted.
I was in there. It was like, yeah, and the guy, and it was like this. It was this one part where like it was like a seafood boil, and the guy kind of looked at me, and then like the way that he positioned everything on my plate, like he was giving me all the claws. So like I don't know if he spoke English, but if he did, I'm pretty certain he was like, "Look at this fat ass," and let me give him all the claws. And I was like, "Gracias," and I'm pretty sure he was not Spanish. So yeah. But other than that, it's the same old thing. Like I think the worst part about our Vegas trips is that we don't go to see everything. But we did go down to Fremont Street, and I did get to see some nuns with some taped up tits. So that was great,
I gotta ask, did you have any midget encounters?
bro. No, but I know that
No.
my phone is listening because ever since that night, bro, I've been getting nothing but like midget dancing, midget wrestling, like and I'm like,
Eh,
they're
And that place
close,
in Lauderdale is booking something, or did
bro. I'm like, it's like I think that would be one of those times where Fort Lauderdale would seem so far away because I just can't wait to get there. Like like they don't how does one midget body slam another midget? Like you're not even that high off the ground. It can't hurt. Like yeah, but no, I didn't see any midgets. If I did,
no?
you would have saw the pictures because
Fair enough.
if you know, you
Well,
know.
there's another thing that happened, what, a week or so ago, and that was over at the Black Box that
Yeah.
featuring Robert. How cool is that?
Oh
Featuring
man.
Robert Bass.
Shoot, man. It was good. It was I don't know, it's kind of weird when I explain it to people. Like it's always the day of. Like there's no feeling like any time before it. Like it's just the day of. And I think it's
You know
even
how
more
cool it
so
was for me to walk up to this place and then to see the fucking poster there.
right there.
Then I had to
Yeah.
get closer and
Yeah. Bruh. Like it is crazy. It is crazy. Um, but again, like I say, like I think where you started with the pictures, I think that's
Mhm.
where the emotions come in. I don't want to say nervousness because I'm not nervous, but like once I get
like
to that
I,
point there, I walk through the door, they know who I am, and then it's like, yeah, and then they're like, oh, okay, and for me, it's a long time coming per se because like there was times when I would be, on the show, I wasn't the feature, I might be guest or whatever the case may be, and they didn't really know me, and then it was like I had to kind of fight for my wife to get in, but now it's like they know me and they're like, oh, your wife, yeah, yeah, no, yeah, she's good and stuff like that because sometimes Casey and Spaz are busy, so they can't meet you at the door. You know what I mean?
right.
So it was a good feeling to not have to go through that and fight for that. So about around that door was when the emotion started to come in. It's like, okay, all right, let's do what you do, and it's gonna turn out the way that you want it to turn out. And in actuality, like it kind of turned out better.
And it was a packed house, man.
They do that. They do that, and a lot of times, with the exception of the people who specifically came to see me, like it's usually an older crowd. Like, so that kind of works for me from the standpoint of it's like, oh, wow, like there's a lot of it's a lot of old people in here. How is that going to work for them? And it works.
Question:
Yeah,
What do you define as old?
older than us.
I don't even know
Like,
where the old
like
starting point is for
bruh, like
myself.
I'm talking where they're wearing like golfing shorts, and you like, bruh, close your legs because I
Oh,
feel like one of your nuts about to slip out, like that old, like, and he's
and we don't
just
need to see
totally,
your putter either.
yeah, at all. And like you like clearly he's old enough to not even really give a fuck. Like, you know, I would like to think that we would be kind of self conscious, so we either constantly tugging at our shorts, or we just decide, you know what, we'll stand up for the show, and I don't want my nuts to fall out. Like, yeah, yeah, like the kind that shake your hand and give you a Werther's. Like, hey, here you
Or
go,
one of
son.
those little strawberry candies.
Yeah, yeah. Them some fucking perverts.
So this is the first time I saw you perform live, and we're talking
Yeah,
comedy, people. Just so you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Any other way, it's not even worth the price of admission. But yeah, shit. Damn, it's over already.
So I'm gonna flash some pictures up. So Spaz was kind of the host,
Yeah,
and he has amazing energy. He really does.
I mean, if that's what
And
you want to call it, if Spaz was black, his energy would be crackhead. Like, let's just we ain't got to sugarcoat it. One of the greatest people I know, but if Spaz was black, yeah, that would be crackhead energy.
oh, hey, we got a couple of hey. What do we have? We have hey boys, late to the party, walking to Werther nut joke. Fantastic. Thank you for
Yeah,
joining us, Raven,
yeah.
and Kyle from Loud and Nerdy. I know them. What's happening, Kyle? We appreciate you joining us. So yeah, Casey was kind of like the MC, and he had his own small set. And then after Casey, there was I'm not kidding, a legally blind comic. I don't know if you can see his shirt. There it is. But yeah, and I mean he had his stick with him. Okay, and then
So
this cat.
wait, hold on. Let me go to the
Okay.
legally blind guy. So the legally blind guy. So I got asked the question afterwards, like, "Yo, like, so what's the deal? Like, is that part of the gimmick?" And I'm like, "No, like he's really legally blind because we're sitting in the makeshift green room, and he's on his phone, like." And I was like, at first, I didn't see the stick, so I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with this dude? This dude must be blind." And then it was like, "Yeah, you know," and he
The
moved the stick,
stick.
and I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Didn't
I'm
read
glad
his
I didn't
shirt,
say
did
it. I didn't even read the shirt. Like I mean, because it's a so. All right, so you saw the flyer, right? You put up the flyer. Wait a minute. We done jumped in the show. We didn't even do no housekeeping or nothing.
Oh my God, what am I thinking?
What are you
Speaking
thinking?
of
Come on, man. Let's do this. Let's do what we're supposed to do. My bad.
speaking of Kyle is on with JW and Jerry on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Loud and Nerdy. We also have Generation Movie. I got to change that to 9 p.m. Monday nights with JW and Rich, and sometimes Natasha. And ladies and gentlemen, if it's your first time joining us, please go to our socials, give us a like and subscribe. Does not cost you a thing,
Mm-mm.
means the world to us.
Yeah,
Only takes a
follow
few
us.
seconds. Definitely appreciate it. Wednesday nights, we have Symbolistic Cynicism. It's usually a once a month, once every few weeks show with Gabe last, what was it, 2 weeks ago? He had the Scream Queen from Freddy versus Jason and so many other movies. Amazing show.
Yeah.
And if you haven't already, go getting out of breath from this, man. Woo!
Yeah.
I'm a little out of practice. David Lee Madison, who had a show on Sunday nights. David Lee Madison's The End of the Night on the Indie Escape Network with co-host Scott Schiaffo from Kevin Smith's Clerks and Clerks 3. They just came out with the movie Full Moon Fever. It's on Amazon Prime. It is now on Tubi as well. awesome freaking werewolf flick. Go give it a look. And if you're not aware, we're affiliated with the Harlow's Haunt movie. Part 2 is going to start filming soon in the Orlando area. We're looking really forward to that. And I think
Something is sleeping.
that's it. Something sleep. Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
No. That's what
what
that's what it
size
said.
jacket is Joe rocking now? What size?
I wasn't gonna say nothing. Like I read it and I thought like maybe it was an inside joke.
A straight jacket or?
That might be it. But people sometimes we make things bad that's a positive because there's nothing wrong with loving yourself. And if they invent a jacket that allows you to show how much you love yourself, just hug yourself just nonstop. Why wouldn't you want it? Oh, I give the best hugs to myself all the time.
You realized a month ago I couldn't put my arms around myself like this, right?
Damn. How much weight did you lose?
I'm thinking about 30 right now.
Are you on Ozempic? Because you got to be careful. I heard it make your dick limp. I didn't hear that.
Find out?
I just made that up.
You want to find out? Do you want to find?
Nah, I'm good. I'm good on that. I pass.
Yeah. No, everything down south is great, with the exception of when they weren't sure if they were going to be able to go through my wrist. The poor kid had to shave my crotch. The look of fear on this kid's face, man.
So because that's got to be weird. So my niece is out in California, and so I asked her like, how's everything going? Because I kind of felt like she went out for my nephew, and my nephew's in the service, but now he's over in Korea. So I was just like, I reached out to her just check on to see how's everything going. Because I saw a post, and I'm that kind of old person where I don't like the tone on that post. Let me call her. And so she told me like she's working at a waxing salon. And I was like, I know I heard what I heard, but like, do you mean like you waxing people? And she was like, yeah.
Like Brazilian shit?
Yeah. And I said to her, that's not weird. And she was like, no. Like I just hold a conversation. I'm like, that's the part that would get me. Cause like you doing buttholes too? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, so this person is like bent over, the cheek spread, and you're talking to them while and she's like, yeah. A lot of people talk all the time. So I feel like, going back to your situation, I would probably feel more weird than the kid because now I'm trying to think of things to like offset what's going on, and I might think of the wrong thing.
Oh, wait. I just got to bring up JW's comment. Good to have you back. I was thinking we weren't going to see Superman. You were missed. So remember, we got a date to see Superman with JW.
Yeah, when? When is it again?
July. I forget.
It can't be the first weekend.
Oh, maybe the
first weekend. Around the 4th of July, because I'm not going to be. Well, we'll get into that later. But
we'll get into that. Okay, so wait. So this kid, he's about to start shaving my groin area. They went through my wrist, by the way. It didn't need.
Yeah. No. But he got your junk in his hand. Keep going.
Yeah, and he's like, so what do you think of the Eagles? And I'm like, well, I'm a Giants fan. And he's like, no, I meant the band. I'm like, you're 12. You don't know the Eagles.
Oh, my God. The 12. Okay, good. The 12 for work. Bruh, you can't talk to me.
He starts playing the Eagles, and I'm like, okay, this isn't how I want to remember Hotel California.
Yeah. Oh, it's burnt now. It's burnt now. Some young kid who shouldn't know nothing about the Eagles got your junk in his hand, shaving it. Yeah, nah, bro. Like, listen. Did you have the shakes or the tremors or something? Because I don't know, I don't know. I don't know, bro. Like, let me shave my own.
You were a member of the Eagles? Wow.
That's a possibility.
Damn. That's a possibility. JW is older than I am, than we are.
Wait, did you go
8 months older than him?
Did you go to Longwood or did you go to South or North?
Longwood.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's
for St. Lucie Medical, Longwood.
Yeah, I've seen some of the people that work there. That kind of makes sense. Like, I mean, I don't mean that like in a negative way. Like, they're just They're an interesting bunch. Respectfully.
You read this comment, Seth.
I have perfect timing tonight. Walked out of the room and walked back into the room, junk in your hand. Yes, yes, yeah. Well, I kind of feel like I owe you guys. You know what I mean? So what ultimately ended up happening was we went on vacation, and when I went on vacation, I knew it was my anniversary and it was Joel's birthday, and so then when I came
Which is
back,
the same day, as a
which
matter
is
of
the same day,
fact.
so then it come back and I talked to Joe, but I didn't talk to Joe. And so I think in my mind, I just assumed that we were going to do the second show in February. So I kind of I'm on my way home. I'm rushing, and I kind of reach out to Joe, and Joe was like, "Oh no, I didn't. We didn't talk about it, so I just kind of assumed we weren't going to do it." And I was like, "Oh," and like in my mind, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, "Cool." 'Cause I don't know what the fuck we was gonna talk about that night. So it was like that works out. So then after that, some things I think I have, and I'm trying to figure out the way to say it. I have issues, right? And I'm not talking like the junk in the hand type issues. I have issues with sometimes communicating.
You
Um
think?
and and so what ultimately happens for me is I just break down and I don't communicate. I go to my place and I stop talking. And so then that's what happened between there and this show. I kind of
Because I can't go like this yet.
yeah. And so like for me, you know, even going back to like the emotions about shows that I do and things of that nature, like it's a it's a lot of emotions. It's never really nervousness. It's just I'm where I'm before I step on the stage, I'm where I'm supposed to be. I know this. There's no doubt, and I know that when I'm on the stage, people can feel that. But a lot of times in real life, I'm just uncomfortable, and I fight things that are probably battles that only I have. That rage within me, and so even for me to do the show, like I've been a guest star on other people's podcasts, but I never did one because, like in my mind, I have this thing where I don't think people are gonna understand me. People are not gonna get me. People are not gonna recognize what it is that I'm trying to do. And so when I got to that place this time, I just shut down. And so that's the real reason. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it or make up some bullshit. That's the real reason why the last show I wasn't on the last show. And so that's it. Um, I will say this: it's not my intention ever for it to happen again. Um, but I am a work in progress. So you know, we back though.
I'll let you take this one too.
I have issues, not junk in your hand issues, Robert Bass. Words to live by.
Words to live
Yeah,
by.
I do. Like I do, and I think the thing that's so freeing with me being on the stage is like a lot of issues I can talk about, you know, and it's that environment where it's not where I'm judged. And a lot of times when I'm out in the wild, in the regular world, and I kind of go into give it up, it's Robert Bass type mode. It's almost like they say when a shark attacks, like there's like something that happens with their eyes where for that split second they're blind. And I think when I go into it, that's kind of how I am. I don't, and then I come out of it and I'm good, and we go on about life. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. I got issues. I'm
Oh,
working
now
on
you
them.
got Kyle chiming in saying you didn't return his message either.
Yeah, I didn't return J Dub's message either. I did get
Yeah, I
them.
had the whole pack after you. I'm like, somebody make sure this cat's good because I'm
Yeah, I
concerned.
mean, and let me be clear. My issues are more so in my head. So there's never a reason to be concerned just in case somebody hears it and hears the wrong thing. You ain't gotta be concerned about me. I love me too much to do anything dumb. I just go into a place um of reclusiveness
Sure,
and
that
you know
works.
so yeah, but I'm back now. So I'm out. Joe got his balls saved by a young guy playing the Eagles. Um, and Joe thought he was talking about the football team, not his sucky ass Giants. This I'm gonna tell you, like,
Damn.
you
That
know,
was just a.
yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? So we're going through free agency, and this shit is like good for everybody, but us. Like, I don't know if you noticed that. Like, my team really ain't did shit. I think we lost somebody. We didn't, and I think we gained some people, but I don't know who the fuck they were, so they don't count. But then it's like, the
We didn't have
draft
the
is coming up.
concussion crew.
Well, the captain is definitely concussed. So it's like,
You got to take this one from Kyle.
just add Robert to the indie crew and don't talk to me when they're not on there.
I talk to you when I'm not on air. I talk to everybody. It's just a
Wow.
matter of finding time to do it. It's easy. Here you go. Take that one, please.
It's easier to talk about our problems or traumas, issues to strangers therapy through comedy. If it makes them laugh, it makes it easier for you. You know what? That is spot on. That is spot on. I don't know if I said this on the show. I think I did say this to you, Joe, once. Like, some of my comedy, as I talk about my family, when the fact that I can talk about them is because I've gotten it to a point in my mind where I can express it without it sounding so traumatizing. Therefore, there are some people I don't talk about heavily in my comedy. And then because of one person in particular that I don't talk about, it's almost like a punchline because I don't talk a lot about my dad. Oh, do you know your dad? Like, that type of shit. So it's because there are things outside of him being cheap as fuck. Like, there are things that sometimes I don't know how it would translate. So the most traumatic person in my life, I always talk about her. Give it up for my mom. No, so it's like it's that thing. So it is very therapeutic, and I think for me, I'm very self-aware, and then sometimes I'm overly aware, and so like I don't have a problem with I was getting ready to say self defecation, but that's shit. Um, self deprecation, because I am comfortable with me. There are certain things that I know that are like, look, man, I'm me. Sometimes I'm weird, sometimes I'm great, and sometimes I'm
Sometimes?
greatly weird.
Okay, that's more like it.
Yeah. So yeah.
But I
But that's
appreciate you, sir.
yeah, but that's my thing, and and then we had the talk, before the show. But yeah, that's just me. Like I say, I'm working on it, and I think also I'm not fearful in what I do. Like, there's a quote from Dave Chappelle, I think when he won his Mark Twain award, where he says, like, he gets on the stage and he talks this shit with the best of them, and I feel that way. Like, I'm obviously not on the level of a Dave Chappelle, but when I'm on the stage, there is nobody in my mind who can fuck with me. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that there's nobody that's better, but the confidence level to which I exude my stuff, like, I'm not really worried about it. I'm not worried about who's on the show, how well this person may or may not have done, Joe, as you may have witnessed. But the reality of it is, like, I know what I came to do, and I'm gonna do it. And so, from that aspect, I'm good. But then there are moments where um, I think I'm fearful, and I don't think it's the type of fearful that people expect, from the standpoint of, like, oh, well, what if it doesn't work? I think sometimes I have that reverse fear. Like, what if the shit really does work? How do I how do I handle it if it works the way that I want it to work? Because I got shit coming up that
To
I'm
make
so
that full
fucking excited about.
transition, is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's one thing. Like, think about it. Right now, theoretically speaking, I'm like at the second stage of it because the first stage was just us bullshitting at work. You know what I'm saying? To get you to the point. Like, I think people would really like to hear you talk your weirdly fantastic shit. To now, people listening to me talk my weirdly fantastic shit. Now, what happens when, like, it goes to another level. Like now, how do I handle that? Like I don't want to be a dick. I don't want to become a dick, But as you can tell, I have dick moments because I my fallback game is better than a person with narcolepsy. Like I will, whoop, and I'm gone. Like you know what I mean? Because it's a thing. Like I think I said this to you as well, Joe. Like being home, and J Dub is gonna like this. It's my fortress of solitude. Like nothing comes here. You know what I mean? Like to the point that like if I feel like somebody negative, babe, talk to him on the driveway. Don't bring that shit in here. If it's raining, you can talk to him in the garage, but don't. Mm-mm. Like the only negative thing happens is when I be killing people on GTA. Like that's it. Like there's
And
nothing
for
else.
you old people, that's Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah. So that's it. I don't want to keep talking about me. Not in that way. So Joe, let me ask you this: how did you
Yes,
like the show?
I really enjoyed the show. I mean, you and Patrick were obviously amazing, and seeing you for the first time, and again, my wife and I were front row.
Yeah.
Thank you, Casey and Spaz, for charging us full price and $18 for vodka and tonic and a Corona. Um,
Listen, one of the perks is when you finally do make it through the door and Spaz sees you, Spaz is like, "Hey, you want a drink?" Like that's the first thing he says to
and
me.
he
Hey,
didn't do it. He introduced me to everybody and brought
oh, I'm
me
talking
around.
before the show even starts. Like I
Well, that's
walk
what I'm
in
talking about.
and I
He
get the
introduced me to Patrick and my wife to Patrick and walked us around and everything, and
oh,
no drink.
and I think he offers me a drink because he knows that I'm different than what I used to be. So it's really not gonna cost him much. And so yeah, he offered me a drink as soon as I came in, and I was like, yeah, yes, 18 American dollars, no pesos. Like yes,
And that doesn't include the tip. And then the waitress or the bar staff, they're volunteers.
yeah,
So
and they'll
what do I do immediately? Is I hand her my credit card and say, "Hey, can we start a tab?" And her answer is no. And I'm like,
no,
"Oh." And
no,
she's like, "Do you want to add a tip?" I'm like, "No.
no,
How about we do that at the end of the night? If
right.
I had a tab."
And so
And
that's kind of the thing. So like so, oh, and they let you know that. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Like when you order the drink or whatever, yeah, we're volunteers. Well, no pun intended, but if you're a volunteer, that means you're doing this shit for free. Thank you, but I didn't do that. I'm not that guy. Like I
neither am I.
understand it. Like I don't know. There are certain things that I'm weird about. Uh, I do
We went
have
to
a.
the bar twice. I went to the bar twice, and the second time I did tip them. So
I, I
I
went I went twice as well, but the first time was on Spaz, and then the second time I got a drink because I drunk that first one too fast. But man, I mean, I got a vodka cran and yeah,
so
yeah, it
let's
was
take a
bad.
couple
Yeah,
of
it was darker than me.
excuses for airless bald. I think that was supposed to be hairless. Um, let's see what else. Airless. Yeah. That was supposed to be hairless.
Inflatable
Uh,
balls, probably. The therapist
okay, her
told me.
therapist told her I should try open mic night. Gotta love that trauma kills. Gotta leave people happy. Whatever happened to you didn't happen to them.
And it's a thing though, so like even to that point, like so I kind of mentioned earlier, like how, Casey and Spaz crowd is usually older and they're a bunch of perverted folks. Like sometimes you can't overthink it, right? Because I never forget I like the first time I did it there because there was one spot where I first met them and it drew one type of crowd. But then when they moved to the black box, like it was a whole different crowd and that crowd was older. And I'm like, oh man, you know how
So was
many?
that downtown Jensen compared to Fort Pierce?
No, no, because downtown Jensen is kind of the same crowd as Fort Pierce. Like they're usually older. You know what I mean? The bar staff is younger, but they're usually older. But I was like the first time I did the show, I was like, man, this is gonna be fucked up. You know how many dick jokes I got? Like they don't want to hear this, And I remember doing the show, and I kind of watered down my set because I didn't want to seem offensive to them. And then the headliner got up, and man, I think he said "dick" 5 times within the first 2 minutes, and these old fucks were dying laughing. And I was like, from that point on, I was like, you know what? It makes sense. There's not too much they haven't seen before or talked about before, and after that, it's been cool. And I think going back to the comment, it's a matter of how you present it, how you present your trauma. You know, because I don't think necessarily for me, my goal is to get out there and just like trauma bomb these people. It's just, hey, I'm gonna tell you what my life is, and I'm gonna tell you how the humor that I see in it now that I'm beyond that point. And so it kind of works that way. And there are certain things that I'll say or certain jokes that I'll say where people are like, oh, like I used to tell a joke about my daughter, and I would always have the fathers come up after the show like, yo, you're right, because man, my daughter has me wrapped around her finger as well. And then Joe, with my closing joke that night, I had a lady told me she'll never look at turtles the same. So it's a thing. Like, what are you gonna do? But it's always me. And I think the beautiful part about what I do is, I don't know, like 85 to 90% of my jokes are actual. I only embellish about 10 to 15%. So there's a thing like how I closed the joke. She and I have been married for 3 years. I'm walking back to where my wife is, and my wife looks at me and she's like, "Really?" And I was like, "But come on." And so somebody came and Doug asked me. Doug was like, "Is that really how you met your wife?" I was like, "No." And just so you know, I think she was slightly pissed. She won't say it, but I think she was slightly pissed. Like, but the crazy part is, like, when I do shows where she's not there, and I use that joke as a closer, because I have 2 jokes that I alternate with. But when I use that one, I always end it that way. And there's been a couple times, so it lets me know that there's been a couple times that she has been there, and I used that joke and closed with that. She wasn't listening. Because I said the same thing. Same fucking thing. Yeah, we've been together for however many years. Blah, blah. Good night. I'm Robert Bass.
Did you ever tell everybody else about the one time you used Viagra as a suppository?
No. No.
Just
My,
checking.
my asshole is still hard. Listen, but yeah, so no, yeah, man. Yeah. Things is just like, shut up, Joe. Like, shit is just weird sometimes.
But see,
Like,
if I don't take you off guard occasionally, it gets your brain going again. So,
man, my brain is all over the place right now. Like, literally right now. Like, it's just all over the place. Because I don't think, in my mind, like, this was how I envisioned tonight's show going. But, at the same time, if you expect people to support you, let them know who you are. And so that's
there
who
you
I
go.
am. I'm a guy, I'm going to make you laugh, but know that at times I'm going through shit. And, I apologize for those moments. And one or two things are going to happen. Either I'm going to go into overdrive with jokes, or I'm just going to fall back. So I've had my fallback season. And now I got some things going on. Remember DJ? DJ
Mhm.
reached out to me. I want to say,
You going to
uh,
Tennessee?
I'm going to Tennessee. We're trying to figure out a date. He really wanted me to come next month, but we haven't figured out a date. Wait, no, yeah, next month. He wanted me to come out next month, but we haven't figured out a date on that.
Oh,
So I'm still trying to work that out. But that's the next thing. And I'm trying to sign up for some festivals. You know, to get different kind of exposure, because again, like I said, I think it was great that you got to see that show. Are you okay over there, Joe? It looks like you're freezing.
yeah. It looks like my internet is having an issue, which is pissing me
Oh,
off.
yep.
Huh.
White people don't pay their internet bill. Listen, so
Asshole. Well, it looked like you were getting choppy, not me, but I guess it's me getting choppy. Shit.
well, yeah, on my end, I see you getting choppy. I steal my internet. Why the fuck would mine get choppy? I
So
don't.
one thing we're gonna
I
have to
don't.
discuss eventually. Can you? I mean, am I still choppy? If I'm still choppy, I don't want to talk.
No, you good.
You good? Okay.
Yeah,
So
you
one
good.
thing we're gonna have eventually, everybody out there, is we're gonna have a battle of this beard thing. All right. So
I fucking did the beard that night. Oh man, I'm fucking trying to tell you. Like, it I'm gonna tell you, if this was a Pepsi commercial, I would have been Michael Jackson. I'm trying to tell you, all I would have needed was one good, and and are you okay? Are you okay? And it, no,
and
so,
JW, you could be Alfonso Rivera.
yeah. Yeah. Do the moonwalk and the fucked up leg kick. But man, look at what he did. So yeah, we were talking before we got on, and like I was telling you, like I think there's a difference between what I do and what actors do. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
because for me, from my vantage point, I think I have far more respect for actors because it's a thing. I have to technical issues. What are we?
I can't control the internet.
I
I can control a lot of things
but
on the
not the
network,
internet.
but
No,
not the
no.
internet.
And I would think as much as you beat off, you would make sure you had the best connection. But listen,
You're
so
damn
I was
right.
thinking, so, so like I
Got to
have
get the
like,
ticker working properly,
I'm,
man.
hey, better fucking stay away from that router. So like I I feel like an actor is so much. They're so much more talented. From the standpoint of like I can get on the stage. Like I say, I don't have a problem with that. But I mean, if you give me a script, I gotta remember that. And then people think, oh well, you have to remember your jokes. So your memory has to be somewhat decent. Yeah, you know how many fucking jokes I forget? Like I in
But
my
you also
mind,
write for yourself, though. You
I
write
do
for
write for
yourself.
myself.
These cats don't write for themselves,
I do
for the
write for
most part.
myself for the most part, and I think that also comes with whatever level you at. Because I think in the beginning, Kevin Hart wrote for himself, and then he had his team, and then once he got big, it was just his team. Which then you kind of understand it because you're doing all of these movies and shit like that. It seemed like Kevin Hart was on fucking everything for a minute, but you know, yeah, I can remember things, but I don't remember everything. So then I get off the stage and I'm like, fuck. I forgot that joke. I meant that joke. Oh, this joke was supposed to connect to that joke. Damn, there's no cut. Let's do it again. And the option to perfect it other than just getting on the stage. So and this is kind of bringing things full circle. So, Raven, if it ever cross your mind, the best thing to do is just get on the stage. Sometimes, and Joe can tell you this because Joe was at the show and he kind of said it before the show, but he's very respectful. There was a person that was on the show that Joe didn't find to be very funny, and it happens. But it's also how you do it. Once again, it's how you do it because they was kind of talking about something specific, and then they kind of kept laying into it. And after a while, at least for me, from my perspective, it was like, okay, it's kind of old. It was kind of the equivalent of me getting on the stage in front of every white crowd, always pointing out that I'm black. Yeah, I'm black. I'm blacker than black. I'm black. Guess what? I'm black. My dick hanging to my knees. First off, that's not true. But like, you know
I
what I'm
know it's your
saying?
ankle. I saw.
No, that it may have looked that way, but I didn't lotion my ankles, so that was ash. That was not dick. And so like it's a thing. It's just I have fun doing it. I love it. I love it, and then I love when people um that kind of rock with me get the opportunity to see it. So I think it was a great night. I think
So here's
all
a valid
together.
question from JW. Don't you have a joke notebook? And with him mentioning that, when I was there that night, and it looked like Tommy Love was testing out some new material. He had a book on the stool, and Tommy Love, if nothing, this guy has a great jacket, and I'm
Yeah,
telling you, I'd take the jacket.
yeah.
So
Um, so no, at one point, okay, so let's just be honest here. I am pretty certain I have undiagnosed adult ADHD. So to sit down and start to try to write jokes, it doesn't work. So no. So a lot of times it's in my head. So a lot of the jokes that you heard that night, Joe, were new jokes. Like I had only tested them out one time before because I had one of the Don't Tell shows the week before that show. So I went and I tested it out and I'm like, okay. And a lot of times my jokes are like TV series, like real TV series, wherein this episode links to this episode and links to that episode. And then sometimes when you run out of ideas, you go back to this episode and branch off, almost like fucking Back to the Future. Like, the first one was great, but then the second one had to come back, and then you had to take pieces from the first one and show it from an alternative, you know, alternate angle and stuff like that. So a lot of my jokes they work like that. And then some of them I'm just sitting, and then I'm thinking about it, and like if I'm driving somewhere, I'm that guy that you always think is talking on the phone. I'm not. I'm talking to myself, and a lot of times it's me talking out my jokes. So then that's how I kind of remember them. And then when I get on the stage, then you get a shorter version because I done talked it in my head so long that I'm like this part, and then okay, now maybe I should take this and then put it here, and that's how it connects with this one. Because, like, for example, when I first started doing comedy, I had my thought process was to be the opposite racist, if that makes sense. Like I would go up and like a lot of the stuff that I would say would be questionably racist. And like, but what are you gonna say? I'm black. And then what it all ultimately ended up turning into was just kind of a love fest toward other things. And so I had this one joke where I talked about, going through the process of dating, right? And in dating, one of the things that I learned was like how the adult stores are not really made for men. Like I don't know when the last time you went into an adult store, but they're really not. Like you would think that they would be because you assume that men are the most perverted of the two. But most adult stores are for women. Like you walk in and what you see is like wall to wall dildos. There's a dick here, there's a dick there. You know what I'm saying? They got the big ones, they got the little ones, they got the white ones, they got the black ones. I seen one that was tan and attached to a leaf blower. I guess that's a Mexican one. And so,
Oh
like,
my God.
so that was the joke, right? So then what ultimately ended up happening is as time evolved and I had to write new material, one night I'm like, okay, I came up with this joke and it was going to be an extension of that joke. But when I got the light, I realized I wasn't going to be able to tell that whole joke and then go into the secondary joke. And so what I ended up getting out of that was an unexpected laugh while trying to bridge them. So I was like, there's a joke that I normally tell, but due to time restraint, I don't have time to tell it. Just know it has something to do with Spanish people and dildos. And so then you move to the next joke. And so a lot of people never really realized that there literally was a joke I used to tell that had something to do with Spanish people and dildos. And nothing against my Mexican people, what I'm saying, my Mexican friends. When I was in Miami, there was a tan one attached to a inflatable raft. I guess that's a Cuban one. Like you can do whatever you need to do, however you need to do it. I don't know. So it's crazy, but that's how the jokes evolve. So for me, no, I probably need a notebook because I'm pretty sure I've forgot more jokes than I've told.
You don't have a
But
tape recorder, or not? I mean, a physical tape, but like something on an app or something, just to,
man, that
or
shit get
like a
weird, and
notebook
then
on your phone.
it gets weird because then I start to reminisce on the days when I thought I was gonna be a rapper, and then next thing you know, I'm supposed to be like recording jokes, and I'm trying to record
I mean,
bars.
you were supposed to be New Edition, man.
Bro, I was fucking Johnny Gill. So yeah, man.
All right, so JW's got a question for you. I already know the answer because I've asked you this in the past, actually face to face.
Oh
So
shit. What is the question? Robert, have you ever taken an improv class? It could help a little with acting. No, because improv people are fucking weird. Bunch of fucking weirdos. Like when I make up shit as I'm telling you a story. These motherfuckers got to make up some shit right then and there, and I probably will be good at it because, as we discussed earlier, I'm a fucking weirdo. But right now, no, I'm bashing them. They're fucking weirdos. That's because it's like the whose line is it type thing. No, man, screw that. In some kind of way, when I get nervous, everything goes back to sex. So next thing you know, oh, well, right now you're the mailman and you have a very big package. I know, bitch, because I'm black. Like, shit, no. I get kicked out. I know it already. But it probably would. But I don't know. Like, I like to watch interviews. And sometimes I don't know. Like, sometimes you hear the stories, like the behind the scenes stories, and it's like, oh, well, I guess if you nail the role, like the experience of filming the movie is probably great. And then sometimes I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm okay. I don't know if I necessarily would want to be an actor. Like maybe somebody that did cameos or some shit like that. You know, I could be the token black guy. Yeah, bitch.
But
Where my slits?
isn't that every comedian's ambition to become Eddie Murphy, to become a comedian, an actor, a George
Yes,
Carlin, a Dave Chappelle?
that's every unrealistic comics aspirations. I think also you,
Oh,
and I
JW has
say
Second City
unrealistic.
training.
I think it's unrealistic if you're not willing to put in the work, right? Like, let's forget about all the conspiracy theories about Hollywood and the Diddy parties and things of that nature, and let's just assume that everybody makes it where they make it because they put in hard work. I believe that hard work does pay off. I don't think that everybody's willing to. And then more so, I can just speak for myself. Like there was a time. Now, keep in mind what I realized was that I've known Casey and Spaz for 15 years, which means that good, bad, or ugly, I've been doing comedy for 15 years. And there was a time when I was on fire. But then what happened? Me. I happened. I happened to myself. I backed off and in the age of trying to take accountability, yeah, I put some of it off on, whoever I was dating at that point in time because I felt like they couldn't deal with how popular I was as a comic. But at the same time, maybe it was a little bit of that fear as well. Like, God damn, I'm hot as shit. There was times I always tell the story about my wife when we went on our first date 9 years ago. Like at that point, like I couldn't go down south and do a show um, where people didn't know me. Now I'm not talking Miami. Miami is a different monster, but between West Palm and Fort Lauderdale, everybody knew me, and so um, you know it was a gift and a curse because if somebody had a show that wasn't really that popular, but they asked me to do the show, I would do the show. But because of my reputation, I would always go last. So the first date we went on, I was like, "Hey, I got the show I got to do, and then after that, we can do whatever you want to do." And she was like, "Okay, cool." Man, when I tell you that fucking show was horrible, bruh. By the time I got on the stage, I think it was me, my wife, probably two other people, one of which was the host. Actually, me, my wife, the host, her boyfriend, and the bar staff. So my wife was like, I always say my wife probably looked at it like, oh, it's so cute. He has this little hobby. And then the next show I took her to was totally different. And we walked up to the spot and it was in Boca. And what they would do every year is like they would have this competition. And I remember we were walking up and it was like, oh shit, Robert Bass is here. I'm glad they give a second place. And I'm trying to be humble about the shit, but I'm like, yeah, bitch, I'm that dude. Um, but then y'all stop, just it's whatever. People gotta get on the stage. Tonight may not be my night. That's the shit you say out loud, but in the inside, it's like, I'm about to fuck these bitches hard without Vaseline. Like, give me my money, ho. Like so, so then that show fucking did it, and then it was like, oh, and you can almost see like something switching her, like, mm. Well, that first show must have been a dud. Who knows? Maybe the first show was the real way it is, and this one was just a fluke. And then we did another show, and then we did another show, and then it was kind of a like, oh, and I think at that time we weren't officially dating. So one of the punchlines, and again, this is type of shit where there's some funny stories about us beginning to date, but I can't tell the story without her possibly being offended. But I was like, yo, we went to one of these shows, and she was like, hey, um, you know, when we go to these shows, you don't introduce me, and I'm like, what am I supposed to introduce you as? I don't fucking know. Like, are we dating? Are we not dating? It doesn't matter. You're not introducing me. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what the fuck does it matter? Nobody came to see you. And so like
Oh my god.
again, once again, in my head, never said that shit out loud. As a matter of fact, I probably should have whispered just then. I hope she's not watching. But like, you know what I mean? So it was a thing. So I I was great. That's why the DJ story was so important to me to like have him on the show because I remember him win. And ironically, at his club, there was somebody he had, I think she performed last weekend. And the irony of it is we all met each other at the same time, at the same place. And I was like, man, it would have been nice. I wouldn't even have the headline, just a feature with her, just so that we could have that fallback moment. But yeah, so I think like I don't know. I know they say every athlete wants to be a rapper and every rapper wants to be an athlete. I think to a certain degree, every comedian wants to make that transition. They want to make that Eddie Murphy transition. They want to make that Richard Pryor transition. For the younger comedians, they want to make that Kevin Hart transition. Um, I don't know any shit. I'm trying to think of any white comedians that made it like really good transition
George
because
Carlin, Robin
George
Williams, Billy
Carlin, like,
Crystal.
damn, how the fuck do I forget Robin Williams? I got issues. Judge me later. But like for the younger crowd, I think unfortunately they don't have it. The younger white comedian crowd don't have that person because I mean there's Amy Schumer, but do you really? I mean Tina Fey, but she's a little bit older. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure there's some people, but I think once you realistic, like for me, if I could never make that transition, I am like totally okay with it as long as I could get on the stage for the rest of the rest of my life. Like, cause there's no feeling like it, bro. That jacket was hot as fuck. I never took it off until I got off the
I,
stage. I
I
got
was
off,
sweating, and I was in short sleeves and jeans,
bro.
and
My arms was fucking sweating underneath that.
well, tell them what your shirt says because I don't think they can see it.
Oh, where is it? You big dummy. And it's a red fox.
Sanford and Son.
Yeah,
Yes, that
yeah.
was.
And did you hear the drunk lady? I know you. She saw me on the street. She was like, "I know you," and I was like, "No, all black
Well,
people look like."
which one? There was the blind
Oh.
kid's family to the left of me,
And
and
I'm
then there was
thinking,
some lady behind me and my wife who kept saying, "Hi." I just wanted to say hi, hi, and I'm like, "Whoa, okay, yeah." And my wife is like, "What the fuck? Do you know her?" I'm like, "No, I
so
thought she may have known you."
so there's always a difference with the show, like when Casey and Spaz host it, as opposed to just Spaz hosting it, and it's not a bad thing. So let me not. So just in case you're thinking I'm about to tell you something like super horrible, it's not. It's just I think Spaz, like Casey, has an understanding of, all right, I know we know that there were more tickets sold, but we can't wait on everybody. Let's get the crowd decent and just start the show. And if people come in after that, we'll be fine. And I think Spaz more so wants to be like, hey, like we got 15 tickets that's still out. Let's wait for these 15 people. And my point in bringing that up is because when Spaz does it, that gives people a lot of time to drink.
And to
it's
answer
a
your
thing.
question, JW, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife bought it for me. My wife dressed me a lot. A lot.
Mine too.
If you ever see a picture where I look fucked up and you're like, who put together that outfit? I promise you, it wasn't my wife. It was me. She let me dress myself that day.
No, bullshit. I've seen you in those funky freaking Crocs at work. I don't think your wife picked those out.
The Margaritavilles? Yeah. Actually.
No, the race car ones.
Oh, the Crocs. You said Crocs. Now, I'm thinking of Hey
Crocs.
Dudes.
Crocs.
Yeah. Whatever. But that's just footwear. Like,
When you see Robert walk in with NASCAR Crocs that have little fucking tchotchkes on them.
let me tell you. So one night, I can't fucking think what happened. But one night, I'm fucking with my neighbors, and they're outside and they're talking, and so I go over, and then of course I have a drink, but like we're good neighbors. Like it's not like this is a random thing. So I go over and I'm talking to him, and we just talking and whatever. And all of a sudden, he says, "Uh-oh, Rob, here come your wife." And so, like, I kind of turned and kind of try to hide myself in his garage, and I was like, "Hide me! Don't let her know I'm here." And his head drops, and then out of nowhere, he was like, "Motherfucker, do you have lights on your shoes?" And I was like, "Hey, stay fucking focused." And so the answer to that question is no, I didn't have lights on my shoes. I had a light on one of my Crocs, and it was my NASCAR Croc. And yeah. And so it's funny, like every time I look down and it looks like I'm playing with something, I'm playing with the spoiler that goes on my NASCAR Croc. Like if I don't know how to show the light. See how it says NASCAR? Like I don't know if you can see it through the lighting, but yeah.
Oh no,
man.
we can see it. Hey, read this.
Croc. Wow. Listen, I don't care. I like them. Them sons of bitches.
No, it's cool. We gotta wrap it up. I got a couple more comments that we have to take.
Let's get it.
Raven especially because she's digging at JW and it's kind of funny. So take that one, sir.
Hey Robert, what's your opinion on thick
Come on,
girls?
speak up so the audience can hear.
Oh, I'm
you.
sorry. Hey man. Okay. Hey Robert, what's your opinion on thick girls? J-Dub has been bashing us big girls all week. What? I love thick chicks. What? Thick thighs save lives. What are you talking about? Well, I'm gonna tell you something, Raven, and I apologize in advance. One of the good things is like, earthquakes. How do they judge the earthquake? Richter scale.
Richter scale, yes.
Thick girls, like, and then oh man, I can't even say it.
JW, she covered herself. She said for fun.
Yeah, no, yeah. J-Dub don't know.
All right, so
yeah.
Robert, next show.
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
So I was getting ready to say next week. It's not next week. On our next show, April 3rd. That's the first Thursday in April. We have the guest, Mr. James Yan. I've known him for a while. So let me explain this, right? So this is another thing with the fallback. So a lot of the guests that I want to bring on are people who I know, people who have influenced me, and I really want to get them out of the way. Kind of, and I shouldn't say out of the way, but I just kind of want to give them. Yeah, I want to give them their flowers as soon as I can. And so James Yan is one of those people. He's out of Orlando. Currently, he's actually gonna be at the Black Box this Saturday, but he's currently on a cruise doing comedy right now. But he's a national touring comedian.
I got his other poster, not the Black Box.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's it. Because that's the one that was on the back of the. Yeah. Oh, he's supposed to be at. Yeah, he's gonna be at the Black Box. Very funny guy. And I probably met him 12 or 13 years ago. And there's a story that I have to tell that doesn't have anything to do with midgets or anything of that nature. But for everybody that I bring on, there's always a story to tell. And so kind of what they mean to me and why they meant it to me and how we got to that point. So, yeah, April 3rd, tune in, James Yan. He's actually a TV host as well, but we'll get into all of that too.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
What else you got going
What
on?
was the
Anything?
last thing that you had put on there? What was the last comment? Because you know me. I'm gonna
That one.
good. Oh, good to have you back. Yeah, thank you. That's not how you spell my name, but cool. All right.
Well, Rob.
YLT.
Yeah.
I never mind. And we're gonna move on. So listen. Um. So right now we're working on like I said, we got the April 3rd show coming up. What I am working on is just booking a bunch of my friends so that it's not just a me and Joe show. I mean, as much as you guys love it, I know you love it. I do have a vision in my mind as to how I want to do things, people that I want to have on, what their influence is on my life, and just to get you to know the people that I really for lack of better terms, people I fuck with. And I want to bring them in so y'all can fuck with them too. So yeah. Right now I think the next thing, like I said, I am working on the Tennessee show. There are a couple festivals in the Carolinas that I'm trying to get involved in. And then my next show that I don't know nothing about is on May 30th. And what I mean by that is it's a part of the Don't Tell comedy circuit. So I don't generally find out until roughly about the 28th.
Yeah, that whole thing confused me, man, because I was trying to buy tickets to the Fort Pierce one, but it didn't tell me where it was going to be. And oh,
Doesn't. And that's the thing. Like, that's the one thing that it does. And here's the craziest part, right? Like, because it's always packed out. And from my understanding, from the guest standpoint, like, they may find out either the same day as us or the day after. So maybe the day before the show. Like, but these people have already bought their tickets, like sight unseen. They don't know who's gonna be there. And they are always great crowds. Like, oh my God. The last one that I did where I was testing out my new material, it was a little different because people started getting up and walking out, and I don't know what that was about, but they didn't do it to me, so I was good. I was happy about that.
one thing we forgot, sir. Where can people find you on social media?
Oh man, you can find me on Facebook. I am comedian Robert Bass. I also have a fan page, which is World Class Clown Comedy. What you see under my name, spelled exactly the same way. I am that person on Instagram as well as X, formerly known as Twitter. And then lastly, there's TikTok. I'm comedian Robert Bass, all one word there as well.
Nice.
And when I'm bored, you can find me on Pornhub.
Wait, you must have a virtual network or something because Pornhub isn't available in Florida anymore.
Mm, okay.
Okay.
That's what I kept hearing.
uh,
But I think what happens is because our mind is tuned into what it is we're trying to do, a lot of people wasn't reading it. And what it was telling you is that based upon the state that you're in, they want to be able to verify that you're old enough. And I'm like, bitch,
yes.
I'm old enough. Like I got beat
Yeah,
off socks
take a
that's older than
snapshot.
the
We got the
Pornhub.
gray hair.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like what the fuck? So yeah. I was
Yeah.
beaten off when it was VHS. I'm old enough. So
Ladies and gentlemen, again, if you haven't already, go to our socials, hit the like and subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing. It means the world to us. And VHS, man, let me tell you, 11 years old watching Debbie Does Dallas. Yeah.
what?
Um,
Oh man.
what?
There was this one. It was called Mandingo, and I've been trying to find it ever since. It was weird. There's a scene that's burnt in my head, and then there's another one where it was like prisoners. They were female prisoners, and they escaped, and they were like grabbing these men, and I was like, "Who?" It's kind of like these teachers are sleeping with students. I was like, "Why was my teachers ugly as fuck? Like I wouldn't want to sleep with none of them. What was these hot teachers when I
Yeah,
needed to
where were
be?"
these teachers when I was a kid? Damn it.
You know what I'm saying? I probably would have got better grades. I promise.
I mean, I wasn't ugly as a kid. I got ugly as I got older, but I wasn't ugly as a kid.
I was smaller. I mean, I was crackhead skinny, but whatever.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We greatly appreciate y'all. We will see you April 3rd with.
James Yon of Orlando.
Oh, good night, everyone.